Welcome back. I'm John A.G. All right, today is not a stack tour. This is not an ounces show. This is a purpose show. The labels, the exit doors, the weak spots, the part of your silver pile that most people never think about until the market forces them to think about it. Because if your entire silver plan is, I have this many ounces, well, that sounds good, but it is incomplete. Ounces matter. Weight matters. Spot price matters. But the real question is, what job is each ounce supposed to do? And today, Sunday, May 24th, I want you to comment what day and date you're watching from right now. Now, before we get into it, if you value this kind of content, support the work by subscribing and comment our John AG below. That's it. Short and simple. Let's start with the thing nobody likes to say. A stack is not one thing. It looks like one thing because it sits in the same safe, the same box, the same tube, or the same hiding place. But financially, it is not one thing. Some of it is insurance, some of it is savings, some of it is emergency cash in metal form. That does not mean it's wrong, but it does mean you have to name it correctly, because the market does not care what you meant when you bought it. The market only cares what someone else will pay when you need to sell it. And that is where a lot of stackers get surprised. They'll say, I have 100 ounces. All right, but are those ounces in easy 1-ounce government coins? Are they generic rounds? Are they bars? Are they older circulated coins? Are they proof coins in boxes? Are they collectible pieces with big premiums? Are they odd weights that only certain buyers understand? Same metal, different exit. That's the point. The stack has to be viewed in layers, not piles. The first layer is the deep stack. This is the foundation. This is the silver you really do not plan to move unless life changes in a serious way. Not because silver is magical, not because every ounce must be held forever, but because this layer has a job, and its job is to sit there when everything else is making noise. Think of it like the concrete under the house. You don't brag about it every day. You don't touch it every week. But if it is weak, the whole structure feels weak. For a deep stack, liquidity matters more than decoration. Recognition matters. Clean condition matters. Simple weights matter. In the United States, widely recognized 1-ounce government coins can make sense for part of this layer, even when premiums are not perfect, because recognizability can shorten the selling process. But that does not mean every deep stack ounce must be the most expensive ounce. No, that's where people get emotional instead of practical. A deep stack should be boring. I know, that's not exciting, but boring is sometimes exactly what you want. Tubes, bars from known refiners, coins that dealers recognize without a lecture, pieces that your family could understand if you were not there to explain them. And that last sentence matters, because a silver stack that only you understand is not as strong as you think. Your stack has a communication problem. Not a silver problem, a communication problem. Based on recently published numbers, physical silver is still tied to a much wider market than just stackers. Industry uses it, investors buy it, dealers recycle it. And because the physical market is not one clean pipe, retail premiums can be calm in one area and tight in another. That is why your deep stack should not depend on a perfect market. It should be built to survive an imperfect one. Now the second layer is the savings stack. This one sounds similar, but it's not the same. The deep stack is the last line. The savings stack is the patient line. This is silver you are willing to use for a meaningful life event if the numbers make sense. A down payment, a business opening, a family emergency that is not temporary. This is not the silver you sell because the washing machine broke. That's too small. This is not the silver you sell because price moved a little higher on a Tuesday. That's too emotional. The savings stack is where you allow time to do the work. But here's the catch. Silver does not pay interest. It does not mail you a dividend. It just sits there. So when someone says silver is savings, you have to ask, savings against what? Against currency weakness? Against a future event where a hard asset gives you discipline? Those are real reasons, but they are not the same reason. Also, current inflation readings still show household costs running above the old comfort zone, while purchasing power data shows the consumer dollar is far weaker than it was decades ago. That matters, not because silver fixes everything, but because it explains why disciplined people keep looking for hard assets outside ordinary bank balances as backup during real pressure. And if you don't know why you own it, you will not know when to use it. That's why I like the layer approach. It forces decisions before emotions show up. The third layer is the rainy day stack. And this one is where I think many people need to be honest. You should not make silver your first emergency fund. You really should not. I know that sounds strange coming from a silver channel, but it is true. If the car needs repairs, if rent is due, if medical bills hit, the cleanest emergency asset is still cash or immediately available funds. Silver has spreads. Silver has dealer hours. Silver has price movement. So why have a rainy day silver layer at all? Because sometimes the rainy day is not one bill. Sometimes the rainy day is a bad season, job pressure, inflation pressure, a frozen opportunity, a stretch of months where you need optionality. In that case, silver can act as a second reserve behind cash, not a replacement for cash. And this is where size matters. Not total stack size, piece size. If your rainy day stack is all large bars, you may be forced to sell more than you need. If it's all collectible pieces, you may be forced to accept less than you expected. Small, recognizable, boring, and easy to price. That is what you want here. And let's pause on that point because this is the part that separates a stack from a plan. A stack says, I own silver. A plan says, if I need $500, which pieces leave first? If I need a few thousand, which layer opens? If silver spikes, what do I sell? If premiums collapse, what do I hold? That is the difference. If you're successful, share your success story in the comments so others can stay motivated. Because sometimes one real example from a real viewer helps someone else think through their own plan better than any theory. Now the fourth layer is the opportunity stack. This is the part of the stack that can be fun, but it can also be dangerous. This is where higher premium silver lives. Proof coins, special designs, collectible bullion, pieces that are not just priced by melt value. There is nothing wrong with that. I like beautiful silver. A lot of people do. But opportunity silver needs an exit strategy at purchase, not after purchase, because the premium is not guaranteed. The market can love a coin during release week and ignore it later. A proof piece can sell out fast, then cool off. A private design can be popular online but hard to move locally. A graded coin can bring strong money from the right buyer and disappointing money from the wrong buyer. So the question is not, is it silver? Of course it is. The question is, who is the next buyer? And here's my counterpoint to a common idea. Some people say the highest premium coin is the most liquid because people recognize it. Maybe, sometimes, but that is not always true. Liquidity is not only recognition. Liquidity is the price someone will actually pay you, quickly, after spreads, after fees, after negotiation. A famous coin with a stretched premium can be easy to sell and still be a poor exit. A generic round with a narrow spread can be less glamorous and still be the smarter sale. So don't confuse easy with efficient. According to the latest publicly available market updates, retail behavior has not always matched the industrial side. There have been moments when large-scale demand looked firm, while local coin shops had plenty of supply walking in the door. That tells you something important. Silver is not one market. It is several markets wearing the same name. The industrial market cares about supply chains. The collector market cares about scarcity and emotion. The dealer market cares about inventory, cash flow, and spread. Your stack sits at the intersection of all of them. That is why a one-dimensional stack can create a three-dimensional problem. Now let's talk about older circulated silver, because this is where people get very divided. Some stackers love it because it is fractional, familiar, and historically interesting. I think both sides have a point. The strength of older circulated silver is flexibility. It comes in smaller face values, it has history, it feels spendable in a way large bars do not. But the weakness is that it can trade strangely. In some markets, it commands a premium. In others, buyers discount it because they don't want to sort, count, or resell it. So if this is your whole stack, understand the risk. You may own good silver and still face a bad bid. That does not mean avoid it. It means don't let nostalgia write the plan. Now bars. Bars are efficient. Bars often carry lower premiums. Bars stack well. They make sense for building weight. But bars also come with the opposite issue. The larger the bar, the more concentrated the exit. A big bar can be excellent for long-term storage, but less useful if you only need a small amount of cash. Authenticity matters. Brand recognition matters. Testing matters. So bars can be great in the deep stack or savings layer, but for rainy day liquidity, you may want smaller units around them. Rounds are the middle lane. Simple. Usually lower premium than famous government coins. Easy enough for many dealers to price, but they are not all equal. Again, same silver, different exit. This is the whole message. Build by exit, not by appearance. And from recent market updates, we know silver has had a wider conversation around industrial demand, solar technology, electronics, artificial intelligence infrastructure, and recycling. But do not build your household plan on one headline. A global shortage story and a weak local bid can exist at the same time. That's not contradiction, that's market structure. So what is the practical strategy? First, separate the stack physically, or at least on paper. Deep stack, savings stack, rainy day stack, opportunity stack. Second, write down your sell order, not in your head, on paper. Which silver leaves first? Which never leaves unless things get serious? Which pieces are for flipping? Third, know your spread. If you pay a premium and later sell at a discount, spot price has to do more work just to get you even. Fourth, do not over-romanticize any ounce. Every ounce has a purpose, and in a real emergency, every ounce should be sellable. That does not mean you want to sell it. It means you are honest enough to know why you own it. Fifth, keep records. Purchase price, date, dealer, quantity, premium, and notes. A messy stack becomes messier when emotions rise. And finally, rebalance. If your whole stack becomes collectibles, add boring bullion. If your whole stack becomes large bars, add smaller liquid pieces. If your whole stack is government coins with big premiums, maybe add lower premium weight. The goal is to have options, because silver is not just a metal. For a stacker, silver is a decision waiting for a future date. And when that date comes, you don't want to be figuring out the plan under pressure. You want the plan already built. So here's the bottom line. Stop asking only, how many ounces do I have? Start asking, what are these ounces supposed to do? Which ones protect me? Which ones wait for opportunity? Which ones can be sold fast? Which ones should my family understand? Which ones are just for enjoyment? Answer that, and your stack becomes cleaner immediately. And if this helped you think differently, subscribe, stay close, and comment which layer of your stack needs the most work right now. This information is for education and conversation only. I'm not telling you what to buy, sell, or hold. Your budget, taxes, risk, family needs, and local market are your responsibility. So use this as a framework, then make decisions carefully and independently.